Hi, everybody. Welcome to Stamping with Melva. I'm Melva Peters, and I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in British Columbia, Canada. And you can find me online at stampingwithmelva.com. It is Wednesday night, so this is my new night that I go live. I usually have been going live on Thursday nights, but I've kind of switched it up at least for the summer. So I'm here with a mystery challenge for you. So I posted a tic-tac-toe challenge earlier today. So the way tic-tac-toe challenge works is there are 9 boxes. So you can choose, you need to choose a line, whether it's vertical, horizontal, or diagonal. And so you choose a line and use the 3 items in that line to make a project. So tonight, there's all sorts of great options, but I decided to do some partial die cutting because I need to make a card with that on it. So I am going to do dry embossing, a partial die cut, and pink. I'm going to cheat a little bit because I'm using Moody Mauve. But I think it's pink enough for it. So hopefully you'll play along and post your card on my Facebook group. I love to see what you're creating. And every month, it's the last day of the month now. So tomorrow or the next day, I'm going to go through all of the projects that have been shared, and I'll be sending some happy mail out to a few people who have shared some projects over the course of the month. So if you'd like that to be you, make a project using these 3 of the 3 items in your line that you choose and share it. And I would love to send you something in the mail. All right, let's switch over and I'll show you the challenge. So this was posted on my Facebook group page and also Instagram earlier today. So if you missed it, you can go out and find it there. But as I said, there's lots of options to choose from. So you can pick, any line. So I'm using this middle vertical line, dry embossing, partial die cut, and pink. And like I said, I'm cheating a little bit because I'm using Moody Mauve, which is what I've cut this out of. So I'm also using the Cheerful Daisy Sweet. So this is kind of pink. So I'm cheating a little bit. All right, so let me bring in, I am using, like as I did last night in my project, I am using the Cheerful Daisies bundle. I absolutely love this. And as I said, we're doing a stamp camp using this suite coming up in July. And so if you're interested in participating in that stamp camp, all you need to do is purchase this bundle plus the in-color jute trim. And you will be automatically registered, and you will get a make and take kit with 13 projects in it. Plus you will get 13 bonus projects in a Facebook group that you can make using the suite. So it's a really good deal. I am telling you this, and I just want to stress, these dies are in low inventory. And so I don't want you to miss out because if you want to register, but you miss out because the dies aren't orderable, that's not a good thing. All right, so that's what I'm using tonight. I'm also using another product. I don't know if you're going to be able to see this. This is the exposed brick embossing folder. Love, love, love this. And so this is a new embossing folder. It's kind of got the brick as well as kind of an old antique-y. That's called exposed brick. I just love it. Okay, so let's bring in my project or my supplies. I've done a little bit of die cutting in advance. So I'm using this is the paper that comes with the Fresh as a Daisy. So I'm using the Pebbled Path, which is one of the new in colors. I have gone ahead and embossed that. It's kind of hard to see, but I have embossed it using the exposed brick just to give it some texture. And then I'm using another piece that is in the Moody Mauve. My card base is Pebbled Path. Just going to score this again. I had scored it earlier, but as I was kind of preparing and thinking about what I was going to do, but I'm going to score it again. So this card base I have cut, let's see, it is, I should measure it. Don't forget to leave a comment. I'm always interested to know where people are coming in from. So let's see, it is 4 1/4 plus 2 1/8. 6 3/8. So it's a bit of a weird, yeah, 6 3/8. So it is 5 1/2 by 6 3/8. Just a little bit of a weird card base. But the reason I did it like this, oops, things are falling out. So we're going to fold that. As always, I fold into the mountain or the raised line. And with that double, I'm going to just give it a really good burnish. Use your bone folder to give it a good burnish. Okay, so then I cut a piece of this pretty designer series paper. So I'm using this one that's Moody Mauve. So Pebbled Path and Moody Mauve. I love the color combination. So we're just going to cut this. I cut this 1 7/8 by 5 1/4. So we're just going to glue that onto the front. Like that. Just such a pretty color combination. And then this piece is basic white, and it's 4 inches by 5 1/4. It's going to go on the inside. We'll kind of get our basics done for the card. And then we can start with the partial die cutting. All right, and then this piece of Pebbled Path. So it's this green daisies on one side, and then the Pebbled Path, which I embossed, is going to go right on this edge. This is 2 inches. I believe I cut this, 2 inches by 5 1/4. So this is going to go on to this right-hand edge of the basic white. All right, so we've got our card base mostly done. Now, I've cut this out, and I'll show you what I'm going to do with that. So this is the piece. I've cut a piece that is 3 3/4 by 5. Now, if you've never done partial die cutting, what it is I'm going to just kind of adhere this on so it doesn't slip and slide. So I'm putting this in kind of in this in the center-ish, maybe a little bit over towards the left-hand side. What we're going to do is we're going to run this through. If I bring my cutting plates over, we're going to run this through. And when you do partial embossing, it means that only part of this is going to be cut out. Actually, I'm going to move this into the middle. If I need to, I can trim it afterwards. Okay, so we got this in the middle. What we want to do is we're just going to line this up. So where I line up my plate, so this is plate number 3. This is a cutting plate. That's the only side. So the only side of this that's going to be cut out is the side that's got the plate on the top. So this part on the left-hand side of my die is not going to be cut out. There's no pressure on that to cut. So let me just bring in my Stampin' Cut and Emboss. So you can decide. Sometimes this is kind of a detailed, kind of a bit of a finicky little die that I'm using. Sometimes a more solid die will work a little better. This one will work just fine. I might have to trim a little bit, but should work just fine. Okay, so the way this is, I've only got my cutting plate kind of halfway. So it's only half on this piece of cardstock that I'm going to cut out. So I'm going to run this through. Not like that. It does slip. That's why you do have to be a little careful. Sometimes running it through the other way works best. I don't know why. So let's start on the other side. Like I said, so we want this so the cutting plate is only half on, kind of half on and half off. There we go. So sometimes running it through with the larger side of the cutting plate works better. Now it's going to maybe loud here because it's going to go off that. There we go. Yeah, bang. Okay, and now I'm going to take, and I'm going to see if I can, no, I can't. So I'm going to have to take it and do exactly what I did on the other side. I'm going to run it back the other way. It doesn't seem to want to work when you kind of run it through. It slips, and you don't want it slipping. Okay, so I want to run it through just to make sure that I've got my all the little bits. Just like I said, this is quite a detailed die, so I'm going to run this through one more time. There we go. Hopefully that's good enough. So if I turn this over, oopsie, you can see that I've only got half of my die cut out. I haven't got the whole die cut out, the die piece, the cardstock cut. And that's exactly what I want, because what I'm going to do is when I remove this, so I've removed my die, and so you can see that I've got part of this flower cut out. I'm now going to take and put this into my trimmer, and I'm going to kind of line up this, and I'm going to cut this, cut the edges, and I may have to use my scissors a little bit to do some trimming. So basically, I'm going to cut this away. There we go. That's pretty good. So I'm cutting the die cut away from the other piece. Now, some of this, because it is a little bit more detailed than some dies, like I said, sometimes if you just use more of a solid flower, it works a little easier. But I think I could make this work. There we go. Trimming just little bits of this away. And now let's take my take your pick tool and poke these. I'm going to trim these off. So this is going to hang over the edge, which just creates a really cool effect. And that's what partial die cutting is all about. So we'll poke all the bits and holes out. So if you're watching, let me know where you're watching from. This, I think I'm on at a little bit earlier time than I normally am. Normally I think it's 6:30 on Wednesdays. I'm still getting over my jet lag and my cold from my trip, but getting there. I had a really good sleep last night. All right, so we're cutting these bits out. Like I said, it's just a little bit fiddlier than. All right, so now I've got a piece. Oh, let's check some of these out. Okay, now I've got a piece that you can see has part of that die cut out. So if I bring my card base back in, this is now going to fit on here. But I've gone ahead and cut another one out. This is the whole die cut out, and this is cut out of Moody Mauve. So I'm just going to take, I should have poked all these bits out in advance. I was debating about what colors to use for this, and I kind of went back and forth between white, but I kind of decided on the Moody, or the pebbled path as the base, and then the piece to cut out, do the partial die cutting. It's kind of hard to choose. All right. Lots of little bits in these dies. They're so pretty. I love this solid one. All right, I think I've got everything cut out or poked out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to adhere this on. So I'm going to just take a little bit of glue and I'm going to put it on here because it's easier to control if I just put it on, and I don't want a lot. And then just a little bit there. So I'm going to line this up. Hopefully, she says confidently, she can line this up. So it's going to cover over the pebbled path side that I cut. And of course, now that wasn't so clever what that I did. Luckily, this dries, the ink or the glue dries clear, because I managed to get some of it showing. But I will deal with that. So then that's going to go on like that. I think that's okay. I will take my adhesive eraser because I've got some glue showing that I'm not real happy about. All right, I've still got some bits poking there. Oopsie, it's not very straight. Okay, there we go. All right, let's see if I can get some of this adhesive off that I managed to. Oopsie, we need a little bit more glue. Not too bad. Let's just try and get a little bit of glue on them. In the back. Get all the bits sticking. Okay, there we go. Not too bad. So now that's what the beauty of doing this, because now I've got half of it cut out and kind of just on the side. Okay, let's add some ribbon. I need a sentiment too, and I just realized I need. Oh, I've got some basic white there. Okay, so I've got this is the Moody Mauve textured ribbon. Comes in all of the new in colors. So I'm just going to take and hopefully tie a bow. Leave myself lots of ribbon so I can tie a nice bow. Hey, Kimberly, welcome. All right, so let's see if we can tie a bow. All right, I'm going to grab my tweezers from, these are the tweezers from the Embossing Additions kit. They work really well to hold it in place, hold your ribbon in place. It's like having an extra finger when you tie a bow. And they can come out. And we can just tie that tight. Not too bad. All right. It's been a while since I've tied bow to have to get back into the swing of things. There we go. Okay. Now I need a sentiment. So I've got Moody Mauve. And what shall we use for a sentiment? Let's do this one. Your friendship means everything. So these are 90%. So these images are actually bigger than what they appear on here. So make sure you account for that when you're trying to figure out where it's going to go. Oh goodness, there we go. So we're just going to stamp this down there. Not much stamping on this card, so I'm just going to take, I always fussy cut, you know me. Could use, there's a really nice label, could use that, but label die. But we'll just use this. Okay, and then some dimensionals, a few left here. And a cut. Just to give some extra. I don't like it when my sentiments kind of wiggle. So we will use a lot of dimensionals on here. It's probably kind of overkill, but I think I have room. There we go. Now, the last thing I want to get some of this glue off. Okay, there we go. All right, I've got some, these are the in color dots. So there's Moody Mauve here. I think that will look nice on this pebbled path. So let's use kind of cover up some of my extra adhesive that got carried over. There we go. Now, what I could do if I wanted to, I could use a little bit of Wink of Stella maybe on some of these, just to, if you're pressing, you're kind of squeezing your Wink of Stella, make sure, I think I've got, oh, this is a brand new one. Huh. Make sure you pull out the blue ring out of it first, and then when you go to press to squeeze it on a scrap of cardstock or something, not onto your, see what happens? You get this big splodge. So I'm just going to take and color just a little bit of some of these flowers, maybe just the centers, just to give it a little bit of extra pizzazz. You guys probably can't even see that, but I can. I'm just kind of doing the centers of my flowers. There we go. All right. So there is my card that I used from the tic-tac-toe. I used dry embossing with the exposed brick embossing folder, the partial die cut, which is this front piece, and then pink. It's actually mauve, but I'm going to call it pink because, well, because. So there we go. There's the card. Hope you enjoy that. If you have any questions, reach out, leave a comment, and I will be happy to explain a little better or a little more about partial die cutting. Sometimes choosing the die that you want to use for the partial die cutting is important because when it's too detailed, this one actually worked out, but if it's really detailed, sometimes they don't work out as well as if they're just a little bit of a simpler die. All right, everybody. Thanks so much for joining me. Now, I will be live on Saturday at 11 a.m., which is my normal time on Saturdays. So I hope you'll join me for another card. Thanks, everybody, for joining me tonight. Hope you have a great evening. Happy stamping. Bye.